From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Monday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Got a big show for you tonight. We have our full-length interview or extended version with Brandon Wright on this week's Lunch with Layman, presented by Springer Mountain Farms Fresh Chicken. And also, just your ability to call in and talk about what has been kind of an amazing couple of days in the sports world. 737-7767. Of course, we had free agency in the NBA and NHL last week. The Preds making several moves there. A lot of that just to keep intact the core of the team that they already had. Mike Fisher, Mike Ribeiro, certainly key pieces there. But what about what we saw yesterday in the sports world? First and foremost, the Women's World Cup final. A reversal from 4 years ago. Payback for the Americans as they beat Japan yesterday. 4 years ago, they sat in disbelief during the medal ceremony after losing in penalty kicks. Yesterday, Japan was the stunned team right from the opening kickoff because the Americans were the aggressors and they took it right to them. And what can you say about Carly Lloyd's performance? Fastest hat trick in the history of the Women's World Cup. 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of that game. First one comes off a corner kick. Excellent serve by Megan Rapinoe. On the ground. It caught Japan off guard. Lloyd makes a great play. The second one was just a defensive breakdown around the net, and Lloyd was the beneficiary. And at that point, the gates just opened. Lauren Holiday scored, and then the third goal from Carly Lloyd. I don't know if I've ever seen someone at the professional level, certainly the international level, just launch a ball from midfield and beat the keeper. And that's what Carly Lloyd did yesterday for her third goal. The U.S. ends up winning 5-2. Add another star to the crest as they get their third Women's World Cup title, the most of any nation, and, of course, their first World Cup title since Brandi Chastain's shirt-ripping, sports bra showing final kick in Pasadena back in 1999. A great day, and I'm curious, how much did that game captivate your attention? Because according to the numbers, America was captivated by women's soccer yesterday, by a World Cup opportunity. Huge numbers. The overnight rating nationally was 15.2. To put that into perspective, the 2 college football semifinals this year, the Rose Bowl game and the Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Ohio State, got a 15.3 and a 15.5 in overnight ratings. The Women's World Cup yesterday game, a 15.2. What does that tell you about where soccer is? I've got my own theory. I'd like to hear what you guys think. 737-7767 is the number. Have these ladies, these women, captured your imagination? Is soccer a sport that's on the rise here in America? Or was this a once every 4-year fad when it comes to the Women's World Cup? Curious on your take on that. 737-7767. And also, well, not many people saw it because it was way into the night last night in Daytona. But the night race, which became the middle of the night race, after all the rain yesterday down there at Daytona, an unbelievable finish. A legendary name in Dale Earnhardt Jr. crossing the finish line first to take the checkered flag and get the victory. And as he does, the big one, as so often happens at Daytona, and this one was a really big one. Austin Dillon flying into the fence, completely airborne. Car disintegrates. He later gets hit by Brad Keselowski and somehow, some way, walks away from it unscathed. My initial reaction when I saw it was, holy smokes. How does the catch fence stop a car going 190 miles per hour and airborne in the direction of the fans? Just stop it dead in its tracks. How does that happen? I mean, I know they engineer it that way, but it doesn't seem like any of those fences, which really is just a lot of chain link supported by some evidently very strong beams. How is that strong enough to withstand that force? Incredibly impressive. How lucky were we that fans were not injured behind the catch fence, because there was debris and shrapnel flying at that point. And how in the world does Austin Dillon get out of that car to fly into that fence, hit it, and stop dead with that force, then bounce down the track as the car disintegrates behind you, and then basically as you roll to a stop, seemingly out of the woods, you get crushed by the number 2 car, Brad Keselowski, who had lost control around the corner as well. Somehow he's walked away. And every driver last night said, I saw it and I feared the worst. I saw it and I thought this was really bad. And so, very fortunately, we're not talking about something much, much worse, but certainly the pictures last night from Daytona were something else. 737-7767 if you have thoughts on the race last night, free agency, Women's World Cup, big ratings, big number for the U.S., of course, a win, the 3rd World Cup title. And also today, well, I guess last night, were the starters for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. But a couple local notes today. Vanderbilt continues to turn out pitchers, and now they have a second All-Star. David Price elected again to another All-Star game. He'll pitch for a 5th time in the Midsummer Classic next Tuesday night in Cincinnati. But he'll be joined by another fellow former Vandy ace in Sonny Gray, the A's best starter this year, record of 9-3, 2.07 ERA, elected to his first All-Star game. Congratulations to him. Certainly well-deserved. Sonny has pitched like an all-star for the past 2 years for the A's, finally now recognized as one as he was selected to the American League All-Star Game. Unfortunately for him, he's scheduled to pitch on Sunday for Oakland, which would make him ineligible to pitch in the game on Tuesday night. So he's probably not actually going to get on the field in the All-Star Game, but still the honor and the ability to be selected is certainly very cool. And congratulations again to Sonny Gray, former Smyrna and Vanderbilt star, well deserving of this honor, as is David Price. Let's go to the phones now. 737-7767 is the number. We begin tonight with Paul. Paul, good evening.
Hey, good morning, brother. How you doing? Good afternoon, brother. How you doing?
Going well. Going well. Whatever time it is.
All right, Neil. What I was going to do, 3 quick comments.
Sure.
The ladies' soccer, congratulations to the ladies' team. But no, I absolutely don't think soccer will take off in America like it does abroad. You know what dominates America's football, and football is king, and football will always be king. And to the race, you ask about Austin Dillon, how did he survive that? Well, I'm going to tell you what, he needs to go to church, because the good Lord was definitely with him on that, I'll tell you that.
No question.
My comment is about, brother, today the Vol Nation needs to stand up and get ready, because Phil Steele magazine come out today, and he got in there that the Vols are back, and he's got us going 10-2, maybe even 11-1, if you can believe that. The Vols are back. Football is going to be back in Tennessee again, brother, and it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. And, hey, brother, I love your show, and God bless you.
All right, Paul, we appreciate it. Have a great night. I think the magazines are starting to come out, and what you're seeing is Tennessee football is back in the consciousness of the college football experts out there. This is a Vols team that is expected to compete once again. I think 10-2, 11-1, still a little bit lofty for this team, and I've said it before on this program. Tennessee's going to be better. Tennessee's going to be a better team this year than it was last year. It's going to continue to trend in the right direction. But things for Tennessee broke the right way last year in the way they won some of those games, especially late in the season. And then the way the selections worked out, you get that January bowl game, and you get an Iowa team that maybe isn't as excited to be there, maybe wasn't that good in the first place, and you run roughshod over them. It's a big win. It's a nice win. It's a program building win in terms of the excitement and the attention that it gets for you. But in some ways, it's maybe artificially inflated where this team should be. I think it's possible that this Tennessee team is much better this year, yet comes in under the expectations of a lot of Vols fans because, let's face it, there's Vols fans sitting here talking about going 10-2 right now. It's hard to go 10-2, and this is still a very, very young team. That's tough. You got Oklahoma in the non-conference. You got the very difficult SEC schedule. I expect Tennessee to be better. I expect them to get that point. And one of these years, we definitely are going to be talking 10-2 or 11-1. But if you set the over/under to me right now at 10-2, I'm probably taking the under right now on the Vols. All right, let's go to Robert. Robert, thanks for the call. You're on SportsLine.
Hey, Steve. A little lighter side of sports.
Sure.
I was checking out the Fox, I believe it's the Sunday night, right, baseball game. It was Atlanta against Philadelphia.
Okay.
And it was fantastic to see Pete Rose sitting there, the big hurt Frank Thomas, and whoever the guy with the glasses, I can never remember his name, but he was like the leader of the three. Anyhow, Pete, he was right on, the finer points of baseball, talking nothing but reality, of the sport. And Frank would get his chance, and Frank being a Hall of Famer, he was bringing his good points in. And then the leader of the pack, near the end of the segment, says to Pete, he goes, "So, Pete, who do you think's going to win the game? Philadelphia or Atlanta?" And Pete says, "Well, my money's on Atlanta." And they pan over to Frank Thomas, who palms himself in the forehead and says, "He didn't."
Right.
Here we were thinking that, okay, Pete, you're out of gambling now.
Right.
This is the lighter side of sports.
Right. Nope, that's a great moment for sure. We appreciate the call, Robert. That's what makes television, I think, is when you get those lighter moments all the time between guys who are on the set and work with each other every day. And that certainly sounds like a good moment last night. And I tell you what, whatever you think about Pete Rose in terms of gambling, the Baseball Hall of Fame, all that stuff, it's good to see Pete Rose talking about baseball because he's one of the all-time greats to ever be on the field between the lines. And from the conversations I've had with him over the years, a couple times, fortunate enough to meet him and talk with him, he just oozes baseball knowledge and hitting knowledge. And so to be able to hear him on national broadcast talk about the players of today, talk about the game of today, I think is only a good thing. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll come back, get to a couple more phone calls, then lunch with Layman for this week after this.